You're good. I'm fine. Welcome to another edition of the Real Masterminds. I'm still waiting for my guest to connect. His experiencing connection problems. So while we are waiting, you can start by asking me questions in the comment section. And as you enter, can you please like, subscribe and share, and also go to the membership section of the Real Masterminds, and please subscribe, join as a member of this channel, because you will get exclusive news if you are a member, because we are going to do this on a regular basis. We are going to invite very important guests on a regular basis. So while we are waiting for our guest, please, as you enter, like, subscribe, and share, and also go to our join this channel as a member of the channel. So this guest, just to give you a little bit of background, this guest I spoke to me yesterday is someone that I speak on a regular basis, and after I posted the story about the brigadier in Gauteng, the head of counterintelligence in Gauteng, he told me to say, but Pat, I know this man. And I asked him, how do you know this man? And they say, I was one of the people who reported very crucial information to this man regarding the Senzo Miwa case. And that was many years ago. And this man chose, regardless of all the information that was shared with him, he chose to ignore that information. And was going to happen today, this guest is going to tell us exactly what information he gave to Brigadier Ntuli, the head of counterintelligence in Gauteng. And we will, I don't know because Brigadier Ntuli ignored the information, and that information was very crucial to this case. So he asked him to give him a few minutes because he's struggling to join. So you can ask question in the comment section for as long as we are waiting for him to join. And in the meantime, I will try to communicate with him to see what is happening. But in the meantime, while we are waiting for him to join, we can also discuss a few other issues. Remember, I'm going to invite, I think next week, I'm going to invite Advocate Defo, and he will tell us, because everyone wants to know about that affidavit that he obtained from Longwe Twala while they were both in Sun City. And everyone wants to know whether that affidavit is legitimate. Did Defo indeed meet with Longwe Twala in jail? And what is it that they discussed before Longwe decided to give Defo that affidavit? So I'm in talks with Defo. And remember, Chigo was asked about certain 1,000 rand that he sent via to Defo. And I just needed also to make sure as to what was this 1,000 rand about. And I asked Defo, listen, Chico went on an interview, and he said there, he made the allegations that he gave you 1,000 rand. What was this 1,000? Why did he give you 1,000? Did he owe you? Did you ask for 1,000 rand? What was the purpose of this 1,000 rand? And then therefore told me, say, no, I also don't know. I also don't know why he gave me 1,000 rand. I made an appointment with him and we spoke. We had a very, very long conversation. We were speaking for almost 3 to 4 hours. And we speak with the most important topic here was the Senzo Miwa case. And then I left because he went there with an Uber. And he said, then he left. And then while he was in the Uber or before he arrived home, or is it the next day, then he saw that Chico sent him an e-wallet of 1,000 rand. And he was thanking him to say, you know what? Thank you very much. This is a 1,000. And then they was, okay, bye. Someone sent you just 1,000 out of the blue and thanking you. Obviously, he knows what they were speaking about and what kind of arrangement were made or whatever. But I just had to get some clarity around it. 1,000 rand. Was it a bribe? Was it what? Actually, why was there money involved after they had this conversation? And that is how, therefore, explained it to me to say, no, maybe the man thought that after he gave me the 1,000 rand, I will ask for more. And then things would happen. And he said, no, he did. He did send me the 1,000 rand. That one I cannot deny. But what he didn't tell everyone is the discussions, what we actually discussed in that meeting that we had. Because there were a lot of things that were said between us. There were a lot of things that he told me. And it will be good if everyone also know what we discussed in that meeting. And that's why I am going to bring Devo on this show to tell us about that affidavit that he obtained from Longwe Twala, about what he and Longwe Twala spoke about on the day when he obtained the affidavit from Longwe, and also about his conversation with Chico Twala. What did they speak about on that day? So this channel is going to get very, very, very interesting because I intend to bring everyone here who have first-hand information. Now we're not talking about hearsay information because we've been called information peddlers, we've been called information operatives, we've been called information whatever, all the names in the world that we've been called. So now what I decided to do, I say, let me bring the people here, the people who can tell us, the people who met with certain people. Let them come and tell us exactly what they know, what they were told, what they discussed, so that it cannot be hearsay evidence. Oh, hearsay is not the evidence. The evidence we not in Ratas, but so that it cannot be second-hand information. Let me call it like that. It cannot be second-hand information. It could be straight from the horse's mouth. Straight from the horse's mouth. Besides that, therefore, also as something wants to expose regarding certain judges, and how you are struck from the role in converted commas by these judges. Remember, therefore, was struck from the role in the High Court, but he was never subjected to a departmental trial. So make me understand how that works. When you were found guilty or when there are an investigation against you, let's now talk about the LPC. There was an investigation against Tefo, but Tefo was never subjected to a departmental trial by the LPC itself, but an external parties come, therefore are being dragged to the High Court, and therefore are being struck from the role. But the funny thing is, There are no complainants. Now, therefore, he found out that judges are involved in him being struck from the role. He sent me his complaint against these judges.
As an acting judge, and there was also two judges, actually three judges, the two struggling from the role, and the one who made the complaint. So when he went to check, actually, who are the complainants in the case that got me struck on the road, he found that the complainants was two judges. The complainants was two judges. Now the person at the LPC who was appointed as the executive at the LPC was a certain Mr. Yuan at the LPC. He was appointed as DEFO's executive. But soon after that, DEFO found out that Yuan Van Staden doesn't even have a LLB qualification. He's not a lawyer. So how can someone who's not a lawyer be appointed to be the executor of an advocate? How does this actually happen? So then recently they found out the lady who also submitted complaints against him at the LPC is dead. She died. She was also one of the people who was in the front seats who submitted complaints against him. People, you must just tell me about the sound. I hear someone say the sound, the sound. Can you hear me clearly now? Am I audible? Can you hear me clearly? Am I audible now? Now, can you hear me now? Now, can you hear me now? Unambu, can you hear me? Okay, I'm trying to check the sound. I use the headphones because I'm really struggling with sound. I'm trying to get myself equipment. That's why I asked you. There are 60 people. There are 60 people in this conversation, but there's only 28 likes. No people. Please like and subscribe also and share also because I need to get myself better equipment so that I cannot struggle like that. You know, I'm unemployed people. So if you're not going to assist me, who's going to assist me? The only thing you have to do is just to share,
Subscribe, to like, and to join as a member. So, can you hear me now? Can you hear me clearly now? Am I audible now? Please like the channel. It seems like my guest, I'm going to send him the link again, but it seems like you know, these things happen when you invite guests and then all of a sudden the guest doesn't have, cannot connect. And we know these things. We know about the grabbers. We know about the interceptors. We know about those kind of things because these people don't want the information to be shared. But but anyone, they want to keep the information for themselves. So if my guest is struggling to connect, so what I'm going to do, let's just proceed. Yes, I did call him. I did call him, but he's still. Just give me a chance. Please, just give me a chance. Let me send him the link again, and then Still struggling to connect. He's still struggling to connect, so we're just have to improvise. And I was actually trying to see if I can get Advocate for yet today, but I see he's also offline. But like I saying, I'm going to read the comments. Hi, Real Mastermind. Hi, Masterminds. Um, yes, you are late, but you made it. Tulazila Kira Abo Baloy brought a cook statement. Yes. Now my guest is really struggling. He's offline. My messages is not going through anymore. But like I said, let's discuss here. Let's discuss. Ask me anything, and if I am going to be able to answer, I will answer your questions. We will have to improvise because if as I told you, that these people have very, very, very dangerous equipment. They can block signals. They can make sure that no one, because all of a sudden, you know what, when I speak to those people on a regular basis, the messages has go through. Even therefore, I call him anytime when I like the messages just through. So suddenly today his phone is offline. I think they also thought that that he's going to be the guest. No, he's not a guest of today. He's not my today's guest. But my today's guest is really struggling to connect. We'll have to improvise. Yes, Mzansi and Felters, Human Rights Day today, they don't care about Human Rights Day because they are, remember, they are watching me with a hawk's eye. Every move I make, they are there, they are everywhere. Crime intelligence is not working anymore. They are not doing the work that they are supposed to do, for which we are paying them. Remember, we are paying them a salary to do intelligence in the country's intelligence. I have become the only the person that are being intelligently monitored these days, because everything that I do, they are monitoring it. They are monitoring it. So I think Endim Zobe, when is the sense of case back to court? I think it's the 14th of April, if I'm not mistaken with the days. If someone can just assist me there. I think the court is resuming on the 14th of April. And mind you, I'm now the real mastermind. So I wonder how is Mr. 2% going to proceed now? With the current, with a previous mastermind, because since 24 February 2025, she's not a real mastermind anymore, according to Sunday World. So I wonder how is the court going to proceed now, because remember now, I'm now the real mastermind. So Mr. 2% will now have to make some adjustments. I don't think he can proceed with his evidence, because now the clarity must now be given as to actually how are they going to proceed, since KK is now my deputy. Remember, I'm now the real one. She's now the deputy. So if the case have to proceed on the 14th, then remember also Lieutenant General Libya also refused to give disclosure on whether I have been added. I've been added on the docket as the real mastermind. So I'm also still waiting to see what's going to happen. 14 April is going to be a very interesting day in that court, because I believe that this issue should be raised to say that Sunday World issued release this information to say that, but the real mastermind is in Free State. The real mastermind is Patricia Mashal, and I also want to analyze the Mr. 2%. So I believe Mr. 2% will arrive at court with a small army. With a small army, because where he is very, very, very afraid that they can just jump out anytime, and just thank you, Dorcas. Thank you very much appreciated. You are taking me closer to my goal to get myself proper equipment. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. People, there are 102 people in this live, but there's only 50 likes. Please, like. Um, so yes, yes, Senzo, Sikakani, Aibo, if they open a case, you already in, it must be, yes, there's a case opened at Jamestown, organized crime. Yes, apparently Mr. 2% opened a case at Jamestown, organized crime against me. So yes, a case is already been opened. If you go to the Sunday World, you will see that spokesperson of the Hawks confirmed that the case are properly being investigated by the Jamestown organized crime. Now I wonder, why is it organized crime? You know, organized. You know, when you talk about organized crime, what does organized crime mean? Why are this case being investigated by organized crime? Because organized crime is a component that investigates exactly what they are saying, organized crime. And what does organized crime mean? Organized crime means that this person is a criminal who have been planning, who have been committed crimes that have been planned properly, organizedly. So this person is a organized criminal. This person is got degrees in crime. And that's when organized crime is going to start investigating this person, because this person has a modus operandi. This person has a certain modus operandi. This person is organized. There is where organized crime is coming in the picture. So how does organized crime open a case again, investigate a case against me for allegations that I'm the one who wants to unalive 2%? Look at me. How? What am I actually? What am I going to use to analyze? There's the first question. What am I going to use? Okapi, because we colors is either bottle cup or okapi, one of the two. So how am I going to get through to the small army who's guarding him with my bottle cup or my okapi to analyze? There's you know what, when I sit and think, I just picture myself. I just picture myself to say that. First and foremost, I must first locate him. I must even first know what he looks like. I don't know what that man looks like. I've never seen him in my life before. I don't know him. Maybe I've passed him somewhere, somehow, but I don't know him. I've never seen him in my life before. So I must now first try and establish, get some pictures about it and see what he does. I don't have money to hire hitmen. I don't have. When you hire hitmen, you must at least have some money. That's why I say, please like the live also. When you come, there's 109 people here, but only 61 like the live. So now, for me to analyze Mr. 2%, I must know what he looks like. First and foremost, I must know his face. Who is he? What he looks like. And then I must locate him. Where is he? And after locating him, I must get to him physically. I must get to him physically, because as I said, I don't have money to hire hitmen to get to him. That I don't have. And even if I had money, I cannot hire hitmen to go and say, you know what, go and analyze someone like that person is a chicken. person is like that person is a chicken. You go, you unalive someone, and you get back, and you just pay someone. You know, people have been unalive as if they're chicken. If you are slaughtering a chicken, and then you are removing the feathers, putting in. I don't even know how to do that. I don't even know how to do that. So after that, I must now go through this. Remember, he says, I have a small army of bodyguards who are with him. That's what they told us. Even in the Sunday world, they told us people have been saying when he arrived at the court, there's this small onion. How am I going to get through? How am I going to get through this small onion now? Because now, as I said, I don't even have something to use to analyze. It's either a copy or a bottle. That's what we colors do. But I've never done it in my life before. I'm a colored, but when there's a fight, I run. I don't fight. If someone dare me to say, come, we colors, we dare one another say, come, street. We go to the street, not in the yard. We have to be seen there in the street and our dresses. Me, I run. I don't fight. You can tell people that I'm afraid of you, and I don't care. I don't fight. I don't see myself fighting with another woman or another someone in this. No. Yeah. I fight with my tongue. I fight with my tongue and my mouth. That's how I fight. Physic. Imagine myself with blue eyes. I've been hit by another woman. I've been hit by another woman because I want to prove a point. So I don't know how to use a knife. I don't know how to use a broken bottle. I don't even know how to use my fist. Because me, I run. Really. I don't fight, I run. If you want to fight with me with words. Yay! If you come with words, yeah, I know how to fight with words with my mouth. That's how I fight. Not physically. Don't dare me to come with the words to say, you know what, Patricia, I'm going to show you, I'm going to tell you what. I will softly, I will deal with you with words. And when I deal with you with words, it's not like I'm going to scream at you, I'm going to swear at you, I'm going to, let's do it. Thank you, Njabulo. Here he comes. The guest is coming. Let's just see whether it's going to come in. So while we are talking, now I must now get to Mr. 2% through all the bodyguards, and then when I arrive in front of him, remember those bodyguards are not going to because now they are his protectors. Mjabula's in the house, Njabs.
Hi, hi.
Come closer. Yeah, there you are. Yo, you gave me stress. I had to keep everyone. I had to keep everyone occupied because now people are going to say I'm lying. I say I'm having a guest, but my guest is not coming in.
No, husband.
And
Hi.
Jabula, we don't have much time left.
All right.
Can you please introduce yourself to my viewers and you tell us why are you here? Why did I invite you here?
All right. Hi, real masterminders. I'm Jabulo.
Your volume is low. Can you please increase your volume?
Let's try that. How's it now? Can you hear me now?
I don't know about other people, but I can still not hear you clearly.
Yo. What then do we do? Can are you able to hear me clearly?
Just increase the volume on your phone. Maybe you just increase the volume. You didn't connect your phone to anything.
No.
Okay. Just try to other people say they can hear you, so proceed. We don't
All
have
right.
much time. I
Okay.
think we have about 15 minutes left.
All right. No. My name is Jabulo. So Pet invited me to come and chill with her and just try to demystify certain things. certain things that may be incorrectly articulated, basically. So that's why I'm here. So what you'll realize is that we speak from either affidavits that have been written prior, information from the court. Then we try to join the dot. So what then we do, we put the information that is currently happening in court, we put it in what we call a timeline of the sequence of events. Now, for example, Pat, we know that there is Krecher, Ronovan Krecher, that you spoke about a lot. We also know that there was a big case about Zimbabwe rendition that people speak about a lot. Now we know that there is a Senzomiwa case. And then with the Senzomiwa case, we then learned that in 2020, there was a commission for taxi violence within Gauteng. Then a year before that, in KZN, there was also another committee which Mary De Haas, actually, Prof. De
Yes.
Haas actually worked on the commission of the political killing in KZN. Now, so now when you listen, we take record from all of those commissions of all of those places, Pat, then you'll find the statement that is being mentioned earlier on as being different to the one that is being mentioned now. Let's say the things, for example, because then now people we've got no business with what is happening with the KZN PC, but there's certain things that need to be clarified. You see, on the case of Zimbabwe rendition, um, the current KZN commissioner was an acting national commissioner, basically. So what happens there, Pat, is that him being a national commissioner, it means that he was the boss of Dramat. Dramat, who was the head of Hawks at the time. Now, now, um, Now, how we know what happened between him and Dramat, which then subsequently Dramat and others were then prosecuted for the element of Zimbabwe rendition case. But this is what happens. This is what we learned. We know that Advocate George Baloy was a DPP at the time to prosecute Dramat and others for the Zimbabwe rendition case. Now, there was back and forth whether to prosecute or not to prosecute. But what then becomes interesting there, Pat, is that they then seek for a legal opinion from Werksman. Now, we get to know this information from Werksman's report that apparently they then engage with the commissioner, who was the national commissioner at the time, saying, what do you know about this Zimbabwe rendition case? Knowing the commissioner, he answered straight. He says, no, I had a meeting with Dramat. I asked him what's happening. Dramat told him that they were investigating the ATM bombings and there were no relations. And then they didn't find any links with those Zimbabwean people. And then they had to escort those people to the border. The question for the acting national commissioner then, which was Mkwanas, General Mkwanas, he then asked the guy, says, but why do we have to take these guys to the border? Because we're police. Then, based on that, Advocate George Baloy and the Werksman opinion says Dramat and others have a case to answer. Do you understand? Now, fast forward to 2015. You talk about the houses and everything like that, Pat. We now know from this thing that it appears as if there were questions that were being asked about investigation that are currently happening. Guess what has happened? The commissioner has answered the question straightforward. He says, no, I don't know anything, but if any of us as men in blue have committed anything wrong,
Right. Mm.
yes, we should face the wrath of the law.
Yeah.
Now, it's very important, guys, that the minute the minute you start to question certain things, then now you're being seen as if you are anti-police officers,
Mm.
or you are anti. We just love our country. We just want men in blue to remain honest and truthful to the cause. Now, so I think that's those things, Pat, that maybe as we go on, we just need to unpack those things and saying, but wait a minute. Um, what is it that the commissioner did? Because the story that went on the news about the Rolex, I can tell you what, Pat, it's like, it's nonsense. It's nonsense
So,
because,
it is actually a smear campaign against the provincial commissioner of KZN.
yeah, what then you will see, Pat, is that remember the strategy. I will share with you another case of another political killing. You will see it's a case that is not related. But when you look at what I like about this case, is it also involves um, holistic testing, confessions. You find that these things, how is it possible that when this particular unit of police are investigating cases, it must involve confession, it must
Yes.
involve the firearm that is accurately
That
documented.
is. If you go and look at the similarity between the creature case and the sense of Miwa case is identical.
Yes, no, 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 they're very identical. Let me tell you why. Because what is strange, Pat, is that you have, on a sense of Maywa case, we have um, 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 a Sergeant Mohola.
Mm.
Yes, a Sergeant Bachuakai Mohola.
Mm.
She's an investigator that paid focus on accused number one. But
Mm.
guess what? And I would like to even add the AKA case on that. Not just,
Yes.
it's just for three cases, AKA Senzo Mayiwa, as well as Ronovan Craig.
Correct.
Now,
Mm.
listen to this. Do you know who, when Craig was applying for bail, a person that actually wrote a statement to the prosecutor to say that Craig must not be given bail because he's linked to the killing of, I think, Cyril Baker, or Isa, Mr. Isa in, yes, yeah, in Rosebend, basically. Now, when you look at that, there's two things that you must pay attention to. It's Sergeant Mohola. That's a creature case. That's a sense of
Mm.
Mewa case.
Mm. The
Now, it's
statement.
Sergeant, yes. But Sergeant Mohola, at the time, the prosecutor was Lawrence Gab. Look at the AKA case. You see
The
that's,
one who's now on the AKA case in KZN.
yes, yes, that's the same one. Now,
Mm.
when you look at the AKA case and you look at the sense of Mewa case, you look at the common things, mastermind, the concept of confessions, the concept of the cell phone proximity with the cell phones, the cars. Let me tell you what, I can stand by this, Pet. I designed most of the CCTV camera system for all the AXA networks. When they talking about CCTV footage from King Shah Airport, I mean, I know exactly how these things happen there.
Because
Now,
let me just bring the listeners in the loop here. Because
mm,
Njabula was also working at counterintelligence. Njabula designed the CCTV cameras. So whenever there was something to have to do with those kind of things, Njabula was the one that was called to come. So he knows a lot of things that were happening. He knows these people personally. So that's why I called him to come and clarify. We are going to start this from a point. We are going to move out. We are going to have a session on a weekly basis so that Njabula, before the case resume, so that Njabula can unpack how these people are operating.
Yeah, because just to correct that, it's not counterintelligence. I was just working for AXA, basically. So what is important is, remember, AXA, it's an international airport, it's a national key point. So it's a company that is responsible for all the landing. It's airport company, it's a government agency. So part of AXA, they've got their airports are strategic. It's what now it's called a key infrastructure. It's governed by Key Infrastructure Act. But before it was called the National Key Point. Now we have worked through um, whenever the police wanted to work through in the cases. Just to actually even tell you, I have provided footages for Colonel Stein for the rhino poaching incident that they actually will come to the airport for that. I work with Stein on those things. Now, I also even went a step further to testify on the Uwe Gimbala case. When we documented CCTV footage of Uwe Gimbala. Uwe Gimbala is the guy from Germany that was murdered here in South Africa, the sports car design, basically.
Okay, yes, 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 I
Yeah.
remember that case.
So that's also, it was linked to Ronovan Kreitzer, basically. So all these actors, so people must understand that I understand these things back in from 2009. So we've been piecing these things now. When I wanted to forget about these things, I've got no business with me remembering it. But what becomes a problem to me, Ms. Pett, is that we can't be in a South Africa that we like, and then we had a situation where people will just go out in court and just spread misinformation
And then we
about
turn the
things.
other.
No,
We turn the
I'm not.
black.
No, I'm not prepared to do that. Unfortunately, I'm not prepared to do that.
Now, before we are cut off, ne, we have about 3 minutes left. Tell me quickly about Brigadier Ntuli.
Well, dude, it's quite interesting. It's the guy that when I had the information from the person who was working at the surgery relating to the Sons of Mewa case, I contacted the contact of mine, and we said, no, he's a reliable person that I can speak to. So we connected. I spoke to Brigadier Ndoli. I gave him information that there is a lady that has information that may assist with the Sons of Mewa case. I tell you what, up until now, Pat, he said he was going to call me. He said he was going to phone me back, send a person who's going to come and take a statement. Up until now, Pat, nothing has happened. Not,
Now, what I also want the listeners to know, there's a lady who worked at the surgery who are currently abroad because she fled the country because of fear of her life after Dr. Is it Dr. What is the
Batan,
doctor's
Batan, Dr. Batan.
Mbatsani. After
Yes.
Dr. Mbatsani was just died, mysterious, and that lady fled. And
Mm.
I had the number of that lady on my phone. And I called that lady and I asked the lady to say, you know what, I need clarity here because now there is this the story that come out about the treatment of Longwe. Longwe was allegedly, because it was testified in court, by Ngomezulu brought the issue up to say Longwe was shot in the ankle. So that lady told me, she said, I'm so afraid to talk because people have died left, right, and center. But what I can tell you is what happened there is they were paying in cash. I asked who were you treating at the surgery? Because you were the receptionist at the surgery. And she told me, she said, the person came under the name of Silo Twala. And they were usually paying cash because the stepmother called and she raised a complaint and said, we must stop using her medical aid for his treatment. She's going to report us. And then they started to pay. And I said, was it Longwe Twalo or was it Silo Twalo? She said, I don't know them, but the name that we have on file is Silo Twala. Now, I spoke to that lady personally. I called her and she responded. So now then let's clarity. I say you also called because you also got a source who gave you the information first hand. Like I got information first hand, and that source told you that she wants to give a statement, and you called Brother Anthony truly to say, here is the source, a witness in fact, who wants to give a statement that must be their rocket and up to today, Brigadier Ntuli never returned. He actually ignored the information.
Yes, no, that's true. Because that lady, she used to be the admin. She used to do the claims. So for her, she even actually told me things that I went on and verified. There's a system which is Nightbridge that does the processing and everything like that. Certain claims were done for under a particular a medical aid, basically.
Mm,
Not going to
mm,
mention names here. But then
mm,
now, what was interesting was that this lady, I was very hard on her. I said, but you can't come back 9 years later and claim that you are a whistleblower. I said, no, you're part of this thing.
yes,
So what
yeah,
I can
completely.
do is I can phone people and see who from intelligence around Gauteng that we can trust, that we can give them your numbers, that they can phone you. Maybe they can get you a deal. You can be negotiated a deal, as per se. And
Mm,
then he says, but then later on, I actually learned more things about her when we were actually questioning her. And says, you know what? Yes, at some point she knew the information. She withheld the information because she was scared. And then she
yes.
went on and say all the other things that were relating to that. So now,
Mm,
I think they said there's questions there. But what I was trying to say is that at least there are two ladies that are
mm,
talking about the sequence of events that have transpired.
mm,
Whether those
yes.
things transpired is very important because people like to actually quote us whether we don't know what happened in that house, in that Spaza
Oh,
house on
no.
that day. We don't know who was shot in a foot, whether, yes, we're saying that the other lady is saying that allegedly it's this person and this other person. So we really don't
We
know
don't
what
know.
really happened.
But if there's information, if there's
Yeah.
people who come forward to say, I had information, I was the one who called General Fani Masimula and told him that there is witnesses who are prepared to give statements to testify that they have positive information that someone was shot in the foot. Can you please address this issue? What did he do? He referred me to someone that I was not prepared to speak to.
Yeah. No, you see, I just wish that with the sense of my case that at least the police will actually be be honest. Now, not necessarily with the information that we don't know, Pet, but with the
Mm.
information that the
Information
witnesses are
that's already out
testifying.
there. Mm.
Yes, the actual witnesses that are testifying about.
Yes.
I can I can tell you things that, Pet, it's not fair. It's not easy for a civilian like me to say that, to tell you that a retired colonel from the police ne, was telling the untruth. You see, it's not an easy thing. It's really not an easy thing. And I
More
have
than
said that I also want to go on. We don't see a question that then just send again your question so that we can see to answer. Um,
yes,
that
we
is,
can't see the questions. Can you just send again? Okay, let me
yeah.
go through the chats.
Yeah, you see, Pet, for me to say that Stain is lying with how he interpreted the technical information. It's not an easy thing, Pat. It's definitely not an easy thing. For me to say, um, the guy that come through with the AVL, for me to say that the guy is telling us the mistruth, the untruth about the AVL, it's not an easy thing, Pat, because
Yes.
we've worked within the state organs. We understand these things, how these things work.
What-
Now, now,
and when we, while we understand how these things work, the police is very, very strict on procedures. What I want people to understand is in the police, it's it's unlawful to use a vehicle and you go out of your jurisdiction. You must fill in according to the guidelines and policies and procedures. You must fill in a itinerary if you go out of your jurisdiction. That is the policy.
yes,
I'm just
no,
talking about simple policy. Then we call that register that is called the OB entry register. Nothing out of nothing happens at a police station without that register being completed. Nothing. Because there is a baseball commander who must be followed the shift report. The baseball commander must inspect the register. And when the shift knock off, the baseball commander must inspect the register for any incidents that happen. Now we have a situation in the Senzo Miwa case where there is no record of anything that happened. How possible can that be?
you see, that's why, Pat, I'm saying that the police officers, if they are at least honest
Yes.
about
That's all we
about
need. That's all we need. Honesty.
yes, because the witnesses are the ones that are lying in Ratcha's court. So you see, when I look at Judge Ratcha, I'm like saying, but how could he, as a judge, accept certain statements that, for me, that
Did you see
I
what
feel it
happened? What
untruth.
happened in the Jocelyn Smith case yesterday? Did you see
No,
that?
I have not. No, I have not been following that. I have
Wow.
not been following.
Rata with his 51 of 105 years experience. If you compare him with Judge Erasmus, yesterday Judge Erasmus was very firm. He went through the statements. He asked the witness to say that, but I'm going to go through my records and my notes again. I'm going to watch the record. I'm going to listen to the record. But it seems like you have not been telling the truth.
Mm, exactly. Exactly. We need, you see, that's the thing that we need judges that are going to fight against the street, which says justice system is captured. We need police officers that will say, we are men in blue, we're going to stand and protect the citizen of South Africa, dark or blue. Now,
You
we
know what?
can't have,
We know what is the problem in South Africa, Jabs, and our people need to wake up. We have people who call themselves educated in the country, but when we are appearing in court, we are regarded as subjects of judges. We are regarded the judges as are being placed on that pedestal that we have to call them my Lord and my God and my Eve. And when he say that when a judge they made a judgment, it's like that, like God who made a judgment against your life. It can be. What does how can it be possible that we must worship these judges? And when a judge says something that it is like that, no one and nothing. Now you must spend more money to go to a higher court so that another judge can make a decision. You must spend more money to go to another court so that another judge can make it. Our lives are now dependent on the judiciary. This is what's currently happening.
yes, you see, Pat, just to bring that context to something that I know it's close to you. When we look at the judge, there's the acting judge that sat on a matter of death, where death was disbarred. Many South
I
Africans
spoke
don't
about
know. Yes, yes. Many South Africans don't know that even the person that within the legal Practice Council. I went very hard against them, Pat, where they've even altered records of Mjiako, and they've altered a lot of
They
information that they've
altered.
actually. Yes,
Yes, they altered.
yes, yes. Now the person who's supposed to be finalizing Tepu's matter, they just learned that he's not even qualified to be in there.
He's not even a lawyer. And he
Yes,
resigned. He's not even
mm,
a lawyer. How can that be possible?
yes. But then now, Pat, you see these things. We're not going to be discussing that here. But for me, what is quite important is that we need judges that even if they made a decision that is not favorable for the masses, but were able to respect them.
Yes.
I mean, there are judges that have made unpopular decisions in South Africa, but they're not being harassed. They still becoming very much respected. Now, the reason why I'm saying this thing, Pat, is because in Ratcha's court, we had a witness by the name of Constable Zungu
Mm,
who had said, I've written the statement twice, a handwritten statement as well as the typed version.
mm,
Now, how can a judge in his sober senses accept a statement from a witness that says, I was writing my notes on the pieces of paper? Not even that, suspect. How can a judge accept officers from Ekurhuleni saying that we did not have OB books because there was no money from the metro to buy the OB books, the pocket
exactly.
books?
Exactly. How possible? Because what are we reliant upon in courts is evidence, physical
Yes,
evidence. That's what
exactly.
we are reliant upon in courts. But now
Pat,
comes the judge and he just take all of that and he put it aside and say, I'm going to go with hearsay evidence. I'm going to go with hearsay evidence.
yes, I mean, it doesn't even stop there. The judge had to listen to the head of the SWAT team who said he didn't know how many cars he had. How can be a head of the department not know
You
how
don't
many
know.
vehicles he has?
You don't know how many vehicles you have. And
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 we
and,
have
and
it.
how can the judge keep on accepting people changing their statements? Erasmus had a problem yesterday with Renz. Who is
Yes,
keep on changing a statement? Judge Erasmus had a problem to say that you said this. Yeah,
yes,
you continuously you said that, and in your statement you said that, but I have a problem. You keep on changing your statement. But rather don't have a problem with the witnesses who are amending their statements as they go. He doesn't have a
yes,
problem.
but suspect. You see, um, just before we end with that, um, there's also other things that have happened before that, where how you postpone the matter, a sitting, and you say that Zungu must go to KZN.
Mm.
Then when he comes back, you don't become hard on him because the answer
On
you're
him.
getting
Mm.
is not
You
making
don't
sense.
have. Now, you know what is my problem at the end of the day, where a judge say to the defense lawyer that you will read in my judgment why I made this decision. Now you ask yourself, has this judgment been written yet? How
Yeah.
can he say that? Because the defense haven't called their witnesses yet. How can the judge already talk about his judgment?
Yes. And then Pat, somebody also mentioned here, that's true, Nontobeko. The Dr. Zifosonke is the dentist, ne? That
Mm,
from Shaban, from
mm,
Northwest. Ne? The,
mm.
the interesting thing, the judge ignored factual information that came from that doctor. The
From
doctor
there,
said, yes, the doctor said Ntanzi was being escorted by people who were wearing brown uniform. Brown uniform is Ekurhuleni. How
yes.
then does the judge allow Telezi to say No, we did not go to the Northwest. One second, guys.
Guys, I'm going through your messages and it's a lot. It's a lot. We will go for another 10 minutes. Then
Yeah.
uh,
Sorry about that. So that Dr. Zifozonke Pet is the dentist from Klaban. So the dentist said he agreed with Ntanzi's statements, where he's saying Ntanzi was escorted uh, by people from Eguruleng,
mm,
which were the EMPDs, because Ntanzi was still in the police holding cells. So there's no way that he would have been escorted by correctional officers because he was not yet handed over to correctional services. But then, Pat, we have a judge that doesn't ask that. He still accepts that the confessions were taken correctly and Pat, that information alone, Mem Gomez's soul rest in peace, because he went on and on and on and put statements that were hard hitting. He put versions that sometimes the judge hated to deal with Mgomezulu, but he had no choice.
mm, mm,
So I think for me, we have a problem there when we're comparing the judge from the case in the Western Cape and the judge from the North Gauteng court. We have a problem with that.
no
And
problem.
that also that also makes me to say, Pat, I believe this is my personal point. I'll tell you why that is informed there. I think Rata is conflicted in this
Extreme,
case. Why I'm
extreme.
saying why I'm saying that because Rata played for Orlando Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
He's a legend. Rata is also known with his work within the football community and everything, setting up laws and everything. He's respected. He's done a lot of good work for soccer and everything like that. I'm saying that confliction that why I'm saying it's conflicted because of the Tavern statement.
Mm,
You see, when I was arguing Sholol about the Tavern statement, for me it took me back because I I find it strange that Ngomezulu was able, before he started his cross-examination, he was able to declare that Kininda, we may have come face to face one way or another, or work together, or what have you not, but we've met before. He wanted to
mm,
declare that upfront.
mm,
But then now, with the things that we are learning, I'm being told that the peace officers that came, Mutombo and Rapatu. Do you know that Rapatu and these guys, they're all from Soweto? I think also Rapatu doesn't stay far from, used to be old Rata's house in Orlando, basically.
mm,
Now, I find
mm,
it strange that he could not acknowledge that maybe he knows these peace officers because there was a back-to-back a conversation that was happening between, I think, one of the peace officers and the appointment letter with Mgomezulu at the time. So I felt that you know what, Rata could have actually maybe took us in confidence and just tell us that you know what, I may have come across with these guys. Basically, I may know
mm.
them or something like that, or they were my neighbors or something like that. So it's just too messy for me. I don't believe when when we say comes the 14th, if
Comes
we
the
have,
fourth.
yes, with that one, Pat, if we have really a firm lawyer, they can really apply for this case to be de novo again because it's
Yeah.
a mess. It's filled with lies. how do defense lawyers proceed without getting the actual cell phone itself? How can the
Yes.
lawyers proceed without getting all these downloads? Because I can tell you for a fact, Pat, the number that Masondo says when he was arresting accused number three, ne? When he was arresting accused number three, that number, accused number three continued to use that number while he was incarcerated. That's the phone that, there's another phone that when the raid was taking place, Kininda and them, there's a phone that they found that belonged to number three in 2020. Now, that is why now you will see that they will not even go any further talking about accused number three's cell phone because number three cell phone's record is a mess because it also shows that the same number that the police saying that it was on the SAP 13, it was arrested, confiscated on the SAP 13, that number was active outside. Pet, pet, pet is something that is simple that from accused number three, I know this thing from him. He says he's been given permission to appeal his sentence. I'm not sure whether he's appealing to a higher court and everything like.
I
So now,
think it's
Pat, if
appealing to a higher
yes,
court. Mm.
yes, if that is true, Pat, why Rata is not made known of that thing? I'm not a lawyer, so I only know what will be the legal implication of that. Because the center of Senzomiwa's case, it's the gun which allegedly belonged to SBV. But then SBV said they cannot confirm it. Smart says, I cannot confirm that this gun is ours completely because the barrel inside the gun, the serial number is filed off. It's no longer the same as mine. So I am not able to confirm that the gun is mine. But based on the numbers outside, they matches our license that we have, that number belonged to us. But it didn't stop there. Smart from SPV Pet, he says to Rata, when we lost the gun in 2013, we opened the case and our SBV investigators made sure that the gun is circulated with the same serial number and our thing that this gun has been lost. Now tell me, why if Rulofse finds the gun and the serial number in 2014 or whichever year that it is, it doesn't match the gun as the one that is been stolen, but the technicalities around it, I don't want to do that because some of the information is true, some of the information is not, is shaky around it. But the fact that there is a doubt, possibility of doubt that because the CZ, it's known that its barrel, it's changeable, it can be replaced. Now you cannot say that the gun completely it's there. So you can shoot with the gun today with this barrel now, and then you can shoot with the same gun but with a different barrel, you'll get different results. Now you see, for me, I question and saying, but they shouldn't have not allowed this case to be televised, Page, because I'm not too prepared to see my country's legal system being messed up the way that it's being done. I'm not
But,
prepared to look aside.
but, but in Jab, if this case was not televised, these guys would have been sentenced already. And the world would have been happy because we would have been under the impression that the killers of Senzo Wow was captured, they were prosecuted and they were sentenced and it would have been over. And the
Yes,
real people who were supposed to be tried and convicted would have proceeded with his life as much as they are proceeding with their lives now.
yes. Hashtag Babita case.
Yes. Hashtag Babita case.
Yes.
As much
We
as the
don't know if
mastermind. The masterminds are proceeding with their lives, and the ones there are these what do they call it? The ones who are taking the fall for the masterminds, and the masterminds go on with their lives. They get rich, they make money, and we as South Africans are so quiet about it. We know these things. There are people in Oslo who know exactly what happened. They know these things, but we choose to turn a blind eye because it's not our business. It's
Yeah,
we take care of it. As long as it doesn't affect me, I'm not going to get involved. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow because in South Africa, you can go to sleep tonight and tomorrow you are being in jail for a crime that you never committed. You are being
yeah,
accused
it's,
of a person in a murder of someone that you never even set your eyes on.
yeah. No, that's true, Pat. Because now we we are even in a. I think I decided to come out like this to your show because at least Mkwanazi seemed to make sense for me.
Mm.
He seemed to be understanding Men in Blue. He seemed to be standing by his team. So now, when you see such things that are actually happening, and say, you know what, how can this happen there? How can they do this to him? Basically, you know what? We're not saying things that we don't know. We don't know, but
Don't know.
based on what is, based on what
But
we
we can
know,
also agree when we see that people who are supposed to be the ones who are standing in court are now trying to bring this man down. We cannot
is
agree to.
is because these things, ne, because these things, some of them they've happened long time ago, and then also there's this other case that they're saying that um, the police came through to arrest a person. I mean, like anybody, nobody can go on. We learned that precedents that they're talking about, that we remember when you go back, when the police wanted to arrest the deputy president then, um, the president, Thabo Mbeki, took the country in confidence. He made a special address. He says, no, it's been notified, it's been briefed, A, B, C, and D. Now, who these other junior police officers think that they are? They can come into the province without
And
notifying the head of the
when
province.
you go, yes, when you go
Yeah,
into someone's province, you must report to the provincial commissioner to say
yes,
wherever you are, you might be international, what. But when you enter the province of someone, that provincial commissioner must be informed that the national intervention team or the national political killing team or whoever we are in your province for this and this and this and this and this. You cannot just travel across provinces and do whatever you like. It doesn't work like that.
yeah. You see, yes. I mean, we don't know. Mommy, we don't know who's being protected here on the Sons of Mewa case. But what we can tell you here is that the court, Ratcha's court, and the investigators as well as NPA, I can tell you what, based on the information that I've observed from the court. Unfortunately, I don't use allegedly because I believe that my statement are informed based on the factual information that
You
has
are
come from.
prepared to go and testify in court about this.
Yes, no, because it's what they said, and I can say why those things are wrong. Based
Mm.
on what Colonel Stein said. Stein said he changed the record of the 205 after I had a meeting, consultation meeting with Advocate Baloy. So that alone is a sign of conflict.
Mm.
That's one. Now, when you look at Stein and Kininda, um, Kininda gave a lot of numbers to Stein to say, match these numbers. Stein now, as a technical guy, says, I received these numbers from Kininda. But part of the information that Kininda read to us in court was implicating the senior police officers,
Mm.
which were
One
communicating in
particular,
this thing.
one particular senior police officer, because they keep on calling that number. They keep on calling that number, reading that number in court.
Yes. Now, with that police officer, you say, but then Baloyi, why did you not go if there is this statement and this number? Gininda knew the number that belongs to the state. Stain knew the number that belongs to the state.
The colleague is Gininda's colleague, for that matter.
Yes. Yes, no, they did not call. They did not call that particular officer. They did not request a statement from that particular officer. That is why, for me, which I'm saying now, Pat, because that officer, it's been open about saying, I was on the crime scene. The crime scene was contaminated. People were inside everywhere. Now, why now Baloyi and Gininda are coming to portray to us as if the crime scene was never contaminated and all the evidence was there? Because now they want to justify what Mangena is coming to testify with.
What do you think they want to implicate this officer so at the end of the day he could be charged? Or what?
Wow. No, that one, Pat, is a straightforward one. That officer basically is one of the top 4 generals, basically. Now, we're not going to mention the name due to restrictions. Yes. Now, what then is happening is that, Pat, that officer was being prosecuted. Remember, guys, I told you about Dramat and others who were being prosecuted by Baloyi. Yes, the Zimbabwe case. Now, that officer also was part of that 3 accused people that were being prosecuted by George Baloyi. Now,
and Baloyi recommended that they should be prosecuted. It was the recommendation of Baloyi.
Yes. And then the interesting part, when Baloyi said these people must be prosecuted, guess what? Paul O'Sullivan said Baloyi is state capture. He must be hanged in a wall of shame of NPA. Now, do you see what was happening now? And people now, you start talking about state capture because Baloyi was doing something that was unpopular. I don't know what really happened to George Baloyi, honestly. But when one looks at his record and you see him standing for people's rights when he was acting DPP in Mpumalanga, when there was a racial attack, he was standing firm. He was a public servant. I honestly, Pat, I don't know what happened with this case. You can see his body language that he's not comfortable.
Not comfortable. He's not comfortable. It's like someone who are being forced to do things that he doesn't want to do things that he doesn't want to do. It's like someone who are being forced.
Yes, people must remember, Baloyi at that time, last year in July, he took a week's leave. He was actually going to that case of Dramat and others.
Yes.
Now, when you look at that case has been going for 14 years. Now, if one person there was found guilty of assaulting these Zimbabweans, basically, and was given a holy sentence, and Baloyi was still insisting that the guy must be given a jail time.
Now tell me, that case have been reopened, if I'm not mistaken, following the Werkman's report.
No. It was never reopened. That's why now it's only concluded this year in 2014.
No. The Werkman's report was issued in 2024. Last year.
No, Werkman's report, I think it's back then in 2017, somewhere there.
In 2017. So what happened to the report in the meantime? Where was
the report, Baloyi got his way. He continued to prosecute the people. Now, this is what I think will have happened, Pat. Now, remember that Werkman report we talk about. Baloyi says Dramati and other people have a case to answer.
Mm.
Now, Baloyi went on to prosecute that. But now
Mm.
this thing, something happened. Because of the Vexman's report, ne, one of that police officer who was the head of Hawks at the time in Gauteng, he gets suspended, eventually gets fired, basically, in the
Mm.
police.
Mm.
2020, he wins the case, he gets to be reinstated back. Now you need to pay attention what then has happened. During that time, that prosecution of that time, he said, George Baloyi was not enjoying, was being hanged by Paul O'Sullivan. He's been accusing George Baloyi for being cahoots with Lawrence and the former DPP, Umam Chiba. Paul O'Sullivan called George Baloyi all the names that you can think of. You know why he was calling him that? Because George Baloyi was doing his job as a citizen, as NPA officer, to prosecute people based on a Waxman's report. Now,
And just
the-
before we close, my battery is almost. Do you know Polo Sullivan?
I work at the airport, so I've got more information.
You know him better than what?
Now, I was even at the airport when he was unfortunately pulled out on the aircraft. It was an embarrassing situation that happened to him, Shem. And the one thing that Rata doesn't pay attention to is that Ntanzi and Sibia says they were driven in a high-speed vehicle.
Yes.
Paul O'Sullivan also says he was driven
Driven
in a
in a
high
high
speed.
speed
Yes.
vehicle.
And then Sibia and Ntanzi says they were taken in the middle of the night to Valeria police station. So is Paul O'Sullivan was taken to Valeria police station and was asked unrelated question.
So
So
this
it
Valeria
means
police station is the common denominator.
it's a
Is
common
a link.
denominator for anything that has happened that's wrong. So,
It has
so
happened in all these cases.
yes, no. I do know the guy. I do know his work. I've collected information on him, like on his website. He's published information basically. I know his previous security company before and everything like that. Well, we hold. I hold different view with him when it comes to Bra Den Moyane, uh, uh, Babu Jeki Selebi. I hold a different view because I feel that him himself may have been conflicted with those two people specifically. So anything that he may have
But
investigated.
doesn't he also work closely with Gininda? That's why I was there.
Oh, yeah, yes. The common denominator is the Ronovan Krecher case. They even travel to to Czech Republic basically together. Yes, and even so, he even. But you see, O'Sullivan is a very strange guy
It's not
because if you
also
don't,
common denominator because where all these things are happening, somehow there's a link to him also.
yes, because he actually wanted to take to task the police for not actioning his word. That's when we know there is also another lady that ended up losing her job because of the whole thing now, caught in between listening to the telephone conversation, not listening to the telephone conversation, and this information, guys, it's public information.
It's not classified information. If you can go on Google wherever you want to go, you will find this information. It's not classified, it's public
No,
information.
no,
And
no,
we
it's
are
not. It's
speaking openly like this.
we
We
are
are not
joining the dots.
because it's public information. So you are telling me that Ininda would have created a case. There was a certain witness from Zimbabwe who, by the way, also stole or were given the identity of a certain Jacob Nare who was killed. And shortly after Jacob Nare was killed, there's Zimbabwean, undocumented Zimbabwean, who is also a fugitive. He's wanted, and he's still in witness protection. If I'm not mistaken, he's a witness. He's a witness in the Radova Greater, but his identity, and he's a Ninda witness. So when we are talking about media, we are talking about very sophisticated things where there are undocumented persons who are the key witnesses. But the question that we are asking is how possible South African taxpayers pay for a wanted fugitive, undocumented. That man has been in protection for since 2013. When did the case start?
Your network, your network, Pat. I'm losing you.
Yeah, I told you that I'm going to have a problem with network. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah,
Can
I
you hear
can
me
hear
now?
you now. Yes, I can hear you now. You see,
So
Pat.
these people, when they arrive in court, they say they don't know one another. Gininda say, no, I don't know Kumalo. Kumalo say, no, I don't know. They say they don't. These people are colleagues. You cannot say you are working in the same component in the South African Police Service and you don't know one another. There's no way. They are colleagues, they know one another. Mjiako was working in crime intelligence, and tell us Mjiako's story, you know it better.
Let us not finish everything. Let's do that. Tell them when we're gonna have a chat again. Then we
Okay.
can tell them about.
I will share the date because I must arrange a date with you again. I will
Eh,
share the date and we will proceed with this. As I say, we'll get at least one chat a week until the case resumes so that we can just put everything apart and take everything apart and put it back together again so that everyone can have a clear picture about this syndicate, because
yeah,
this is a circle and everyone is linking to everyone. These people
that's
know
true.
one another. They've been working together for many years. And so we are going to take it together and take it apart and put it together again so that everyone can know exactly
You know,
how
just for
they
us
are.
to laugh, just for us to laugh, because somebody put then the name of Mukhol. You know, I laughed, Pat, when I heard Mukhola, Sechin Mukhola, when she was testifying the case. She told Ngomezulu says, I also know the garage well because at some point I had the engine failure, the car got stuck there in that garage. Let me tell you something. Opposite that garage, there is a B&B.
You told where yes. And people who are in that area, please go and confirm. Because that is the B&B where Gininda's team usually stay over opposite the garage. When Tanzi said, go, people who are in that area, please go and film, because I believe Rata should have done the exact same thing that Judge Erasmus did, to go to do an inspection in local, especially around the issue of the garage that was disputed, the issue of the old ATM that was disputed, all these places where there was dispute. Rata should have said, okay, fine, let's go. We are doing inspection on local so that we can confirm this information.
Yes, no, that's true. But in his defense, he actually did say, he actually asked the lawyers, the defense lawyers, to actually tell him when they want to go there. So it's the defense lawyers that are saying, but in Rata's defense, he actually went there. He says, no, why are we explaining this thing? Because we can actually take the map and then we go there on site and go and view these things. When do you want us to go? It's the defense lawyers that have actually been mum about this thing.
Oh, I missed that one. I probably
Yeah,
missed
no,
that
no, no.
one
In
because
his
it's
defense.
not late. I believe it's not late. Remember, the defense must also come in call their own witnesses. First must now come and defend the clients if they are really serious about defending their client. I
I
believe it's
don't
not
think.
late. I believe it's not late. Inspection in locals can still be done. This case is still ongoing.
Yes. No, I don't think. You see, the interesting thing about the case now, if the defense lawyers have left the status quo like this, I tell you what, Rata has no choice other than to find these people. It doesn't matter what they're gonna say. There's a lot of information that has
And
been
there's
left
all
by
of
defense
this.
lawyers. Yes, that has been left by defense
And as
lawyers
much as people
unchallenged.
get, and as much as people get agitated with lawyers who are keep asking questions over and over and over and over, that's defending your client. Because people are getting agitated with this lawyer in the Jocelyn Smith case to say he's repeating the question, that's called you must oath in the testimony of that witness on the stand. That is a great lawyer because what he's doing there, he's fighting for his client, he's defending his client. As much as we don't like it, we are not the ones who sit in that court whose fate are depending on our defense lawyers.
Yes, true. Let me just tell you something also because this thing goes on. Guys, let me just, Pat, this one you don't know. This one you don't know. You see another case that has been trending a lot of with the Xhosa translation, the Eastern Cape JP case.
That one, yes, yes.
Yes. Let me tell you what is smelling there in that case. There's a question that Advocate Skakane I actually asked. He asked the witnesses, but Mango, Miss Mango, you said your phone was taken. Now, it's it's nonsense. South Africa, listen to this part. It's nonsense, and it never happened. It doesn't exist. There is no technical explanation for this because I received a suspicious call. My phone will be taken for 3 months for investigation. That's when I
Mhm.
realized something is smelling in that case. You see now, if the defense lawyer for the JP don't actually attack that correctly, there is no way, Pat. You receive a suspicious call. You take a phone for 3 months for investigation. That's why Mengo comes through and says some information came back with other information is not there. Then the
Mhm.
chairperson asks, he asks and says, where where was your phone if he's saying these pictures you can't remember where they are? He says, no,
Mhm.
the investigating police officers, police, they took his phone, they took her phone for 3 months. It's nonsense, Pat. It's nonsense. Their defense team must climb on that. It's nonsense.
Matabo, definitely Rata is viewing. I hope he'll watch this because now we have another judge there in Western Cape who was showing us the decorum of the court. They keep telling us about the decorum of the court. Now we see what decorum is supposed to look like. We are going to keep on comparing and comparing because Judge Erasmus show us another side of the judiciary. We have, I don't have a good experience of the judiciary. The magistrate who presided in my case gave me that hope that we still have judges and magistrates in the judiciary who are honest, who are ethical, and who will do the right thing. And that's a good thing. That we must applaud them. That's a good thing. Okay, we are going to end it there. I will share, I will share a new date when we are going to proceed with this, and I will share it on my socials, and I will share it here, and then we can proceed. And thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. It was a great conversation, and the next time we will try and open the lines. I don't have that sophisticated equipment yet. I must still get more likes, more viewers. I must still get more
Yeah,
subscribers. join my channel, and please let's grow this channel because this is our new TV news. Let's regard it as our
Yeah.
new TV news. You are going to get the news fresh from the horse's mouth. So thank you
Yeah.
very much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Jobs, for joining us.
All right. Thank
Until
you.
next time. Bye bye.
Bye.